I'm Troy Kirby with the Auburn Examiner with a quick update on the Auburn City Council. On June 28th, council members held a study session regarding one resolution and one ordinance, as well as looked at the environmental impacts of critical areas. Ordinance number 6826 seeks to amend the city code on city civil service positions.
So Puget Sound Chinook have experienced a sustained decline over the last 150 years. The image on the right traces that population decline since the arrival of the Northern Pacific Railroad. The decline culminated in 1999 with the listing of Puget Sound Chinook under the Endangered Species Act. So Ryanine salmon recovery really is nested within a larger picture. Green River Chinook are one of 22 individual populations within Puget Sound. Other nearby populations include the Cedar River and the Puyallup River to the south. The Ryanine Watershed Plan is considered just one local chapter of the larger Puget Sound Chinook Recovery Plan. Auburn's been a really active participant in this forum and has held several leadership roles over the years. Prior to 2020, former council member Bill Pelosa was a longtime co-chair of the Watershed Ecosystem Forum. Since his departure, Councilmember Stearns has served on both the forum and the management committee, and I also just want to thank Jeff Tate for his engagement as the city's alternate delegate. And this orange area on the left, you can see where the river has started to engage this portion of the floodplain and is actively eroding it, creating valuable backwater and side channel habitat. And then finally here on the left in red, this is Fenster Park. The new buried revetment goes along this obvious pedestrian path. The setback has allowed the river to be more dynamic, which you can see in this increase in sinuosity, as well as this formation of this gravel bar on the right bank. Looking forward, I just wanted to highlight a couple of significant regional projects that really are critical to supporting salmon recovery in our watershed. The first is the cleanup of the lower Duwamish waterway. This will help address contamination levels that we're observing in Chinook salmon that are likely impacting overall survival rates. Also, we're beginning to see a number of Duwamish restoration projects come online as liable parties satisfy their obligations for legacy natural resource damages associated with the lower Duwamish Superfund site.
Resolution number 5598 updates the Green Duwamish and Central Puget Sound watershed with a Salmon Habitat Recovery Plan.
As I mentioned, the code for Auburn is in 2.57, and that's what the ordinance that we're looking at today concerns. Really, it's just a cleanup ordinance here. Some civil service issues came up and gave our office occasion to look at the law more closely and see that there was some antiquated language there. We just wanted to make it more clear, get rid of the heretofores and thereofs. And we also took out two outdated references, one to fire departments, which the city since I think 2008, 2007, no longer has a fire department, of course, with the creation of Valley District. And it also takes out references to the classification of temporary deputy chief, which is that classification is now handled by the police chief and the Civil Service Commission under the current state law.
The city also held more presentations of environmental regulations covering the critical areas regulations within the city limits.
Now, because our water comes from groundwater, it naturally has a lower pH level, and this can make the water corrosive. The city constructed the Howard Road and the Fulmer Corrosion Control facilities in 2004. The photo here on my slide is of the Fulmer facility. So we use aeration to treat the water. This raises the pH to make the water less corrosive and to reduce the potential to leach lead from the piping. This includes the portion that the city owns from the main to the meter, and also the portion the customer owns from the meter into their home. The inventory will indicate that the material, the pipe, is either lead, it's non-lead, could be copper or plastic, or material unknown. Now, goosenecks were very common, used as a way to connect a rigid service line usually galvanized with a rigid water line. And so it's just a short, flexible piece of lead pipe, maybe about 12 inches long. So the potential exposure to lead from this gooseneck is really very minimal.
Thank you for watching the Auburn City Council Update, presented by the Auburn Examiner.